Hello. A lot of shit has gone down in the past 6 hours. Uh-oh. What did I miss? What did I miss? What's up, Jennifer? You tell us. Let me see, y'all. What's up, Sarah? I am doing good. I am doing good. Republican support rules in for legislation. Didn't they vote it? Didn't they vote it twice? Trump denies he's planning to attempt to fire Fed Chair Powell. How did I get the name Pickles? I named my dog Pickles. And I named myself after my dog. Yellow.
Yeah, I'm just gonna sit up here so you can make money.
Come on, David. Come on, David. You don't want to talk?
You won't drop me. You won't drop me.
Hello.
Hey, how we doing?
Doing good. Are you a Trump supporter?
Hell yeah, I'm a Trump supporter. Go America.
All
So,
right. What do you like about Trump?
I like the fact that I like him being the face of the United States. I think he's a good representation. I like the leadership that he has, like that he's been showcasing off the bat. Like the border's finally under control. Like there's like X, Y, Z, like all of the above.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I think the leadership's kind of trash, right? I think we have Tulsi Gabbard saying one thing when Trump says another about Iran. We have Matt or I'm sorry, the DE the DWI hire what's it, Pete Hegseth uh making a fool of himself, doing signal chats, uh, sharing top secret information in unclassified, like unverified channels.
And
Sounds kind of crazy.
you literally have people like from around across the globe. Actually, not people. You literally have like world leaders calling them daddy, like across the board. Like how exactly, when it comes to international relationships, I feel like people respect us more when Trump is in office.
We actually have a Pew Research poll that says otherwise. It says that confidence in America is at an all-time low since Trump has been in office. The only people who have confidence in us are countries like Hungary and Israel and Nigeria.
Where's the source for that? That's the question right there.
Pew Research, bro.
Heavily biased, right? Like that's a problem that I have
Pew,
with that. Like
Pew
you might as well
Research
go
is
to
biased.
IamRight.com and then it's leftist leaning. I would say
Have
everything
you
I've read on there.
have you not heard of Pew Research, bro?
I have, yeah, it's leftist leaning. I'll tell you that off the bat. I already know that from
Says who?
experience.
What the hell?
It's leftist bias like crazy.
Okay, that's weird. I've never heard that. But yeah, no one thinks. I mean, like when Trump puts tariffs on your country and nobody even like thinks to call you, you really think Trump is respected?
Hell yeah, he's respected. I think, to be honest, I feel like international relationships have been restored. All of a sudden, people are stopped playing around. Like everybody's serious now.
I feel like we're on like the most alone we've ever been on the world stage. We've alienated ourselves so hard until Trump turned around and started supporting Ukraine, which you guys are against. We've basically abandoned NATO. They've been all like huddling and figuring out their 10-year plans, how to spend money without buying things from the United States.
You got to think about something, right? Like tariffs, right? Like let's talk about tariffs for a moment. They've been generating revenue across the board. Like we have $10 billion of revenue that was generated. This is money that was not seen by the previous administration. This is exactly what I'm talking about when I say that Trump is a better leader because he's a
Yeah, but
businessman.
Trump is spending. He spent well over $200 billion more than the last administration already this year.
Even then, like I think he has a plan. I think that he's going to create more jobs for Americans, by Americans. Like that's what the tariffs are going to do.
Yeah, I don't think so. I think tariffs are going to put more people out of jobs than anything.
Talking about they're creating American jobs by the Americans for the American people.
Okay, I get it. I get it. You guys want American jobs. Tariffs aren't the silver bullet for us to make American jobs. In fact, people say if you own a shirt company and the prices of your shirts go up because you order them from China, your profit margins are going to go down, your revenue is going to go down, and you start firing people. People are going to lose their jobs. Did he just run? Okay. Chat, tap the screen. Let's get to like 15K. Let's get to 20K. Let's get to 20K. I dare you to. Let's get to a million. Yeah, let's get to a million. I like that. Pews lift leaning. What the hell? Let's check it out. Is it .com? It's org. They had a COVID analysis bias. Mixed. Right down the middle. Extreme. What? It was just that one article. Argent has the chart for that? Yeah. Yellow.
Yo, what's up, dog?
What's up? Are you a Trump supporter?
Yeah, of course, yeah, I am. I am a Trump supporter.
Hey, what do you like about Trump?
I generally like his economic policies. I think that's probably the best thing about him.
Which ones?
Tax cuts. I like the way that they structure. I like the way the Republican Party in the past 8 years has structured deductions, and then the most recent bill, how they structured corporate deductions in order to incentivize domestic manufacturing. I think that's pretty good.
I think he's completely exploded the debt and the deficit with this. And I also think that the tariffs are going to be a tax on the lower and middle class. I think right now, retailers and such, they're trying to figure out a way to stop the raising of prices. They're probably laying some people off, minimizing their profits. But
Yeah.
it's eventually going to pop, and we're going to see prices rise.
I disagree. I think you've been saying, people have been saying that for a long time, and we didn't see that level of inflation. Obviously, the first time. Now, obviously, these are different tariffs. They're a bit more broad, but I think that there's enough fluff inside of these margins that they can just get a little bit more compressed. And I think that there's also the other side of the coin, right, where it doesn't have to be just price increases. It could also be just like a shift in the supply chain to another source, right? So they could either start to manufacture domestically or source from other domestic manufacturers or from other countries who have less of a tariff burden.
Yeah. So the problem is, if you're going to invest domestically behind some tariffs, the fact is this tariffs can go away in a few years, bro. They can just go right away. The
That is
next
true. president
can just tear them up because they're executive orders. And you're building a house of cards, millions, billions of dollars invested in whatever venture you're going into. It could be completely worthless, completely obsolete if somebody rips up the tariffs. So I just think that people are very unsure about any sort of investment in some sort of new venture, especially considering the fact that the rest of the world will still buy from China. And they won't buy these items from us. So it'll be pretty weak industries unless we go for like specialty industries or critical industries like EVs or semiconductors. I think that's a wise choice. But for Trump to do this like broadly, it I think it's just to collect taxes. I don't.
Well, they have collected $100 billion in tariff revenue, so that is good, right? And we haven't seen the inflation that everyone said that we were gonna. So if even let's just say, just for the sake of theory here, let's just say tomorrow he says, you know what, I've changed my mind. I'm shutting down all of the tariffs. Would you say that it was a net good thing that he implemented the tariffs in the first place, or would you say it was a net bad thing?
I would say it's a net bad thing.
Why?
So our GDP was actually expected to grow 4%, and with Trump's tariffs, it grew only about 2%. So we have those billions and billions of dollars lost. We have the stock market just right now hitting levels that it would hit like 6 months ago. So I feel like
What?
no.
And first of all, the stock market is not really great indicator of economic activity, but I mean the market's up across the board, all of the major indexes. So not sure what the argument would be there.
Just it took 6 months to recover from these tariffs, and they were up and down. They're still causing uncertainty in the market. So I would argue
Yeah, I
that
don't have a problem with uncertainty in the equity markets. I don't think that's a big deal. Do you think that that's a bad thing?
I mean, it obviously causes trade to slow down too, right? So like you're putting a obstacle between somebody, a purchaser and a exporter, and I think you're slowing down free trade. You're cutting into businesses who already are here. You're cutting into their profits. I think it's just like very broad, very sloppily done. Right. I feel like we could have done this in stages instead of like slowing down the entire economy and throwing up huge blanket tariffs. It wasn't meant to like industrialize. This was this big, huge, sloppy effort, I think, just to gather taxes.
I disagree. I think that the way that he's done it, while unpredictable, has actually been strategically successful because of the fact of the matter is he's been able to use it as a bargaining chip for negotiating significantly improved trade deals with some of our trading partners, right? Vietnam, Indonesia,
No matter
China.
what happens with those, right? We'll still at least have 10% tariffs on them.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I have no problem with that.
So I'm
But
just
you
saying,
don't
so
like that he's
regardless to
increasing it?
tax breaks, like you're going to be able to target exactly how those tax breaks came out of your check. You're not going to be able to know whether or not what you're doing is affected by these tariffs, but you will be spending more for goods in the future for sure.
I disagree, and I'll tell you why. I'm sure you're aware of the argument about the corporate tax rate, right? So there's a negative correlation between the corporate tax rate and GDP, but we'll focus specifically on the fact of the matter that if you increase corporate taxes, prices also increase, right? Would you agree with that? That's a fact, right?
There's a study that says it's the rate is like a 1/3 average.
Yeah, exactly. So increasing corporate taxes increases prices to some degree. Maybe you might argue, and there could be an argument between the like how much of that cost is passed through to a like in purchaser compared to a tariff. But regardless, you agree that raising the corporate tax rate raises prices. Now, you are also in favor, I presume, of increasing the corporate tax rate to what it was prior to when Trump cut it the first time, or no?
Somewhere between would probably be fine. Where Kamala wanted it, 28's fine.
28. Okay, so Kamala didn't even want it to back where it was, but she wanted to raise it 7 percentage points to 28, which that's what Obama wanted initially. He wanted to cut it. He had run on cutting it in the second term. So it's Democrats and Republicans agreed that you should cut the corporate tax rate. Not only does it increase GDP,
228.
but also right. Regardless, no matter it does increase GDP.
There's a lot of ways we could increase GDP without sloppily just giving rich people money back.
Well, we're talking about corporations here. We're not talking about like individual income tax rate. So
yeah,
corporations. I mean, you can argue as to what they do with those dollars, but let's just focus in on this, right? If you implement a tariff, right, that's a tax on the corporation, right?
Yep.
Okay, but you're arguing that it's passed through to the consumer. Okay, then that's fine.
That's tacked on.
I have to agree
so that's directly correlated to what's called cost of goods sold. So
yeah,
that's included in the operating costs, like how to get the good to the consumer. So in federal taxes, that's taxed on profits only. So for you to try to offset your tax liability by increasing your profits, it's like a never-ending goal you'll be chasing. You'll be making more profits and then paying more taxes on those profits. So
well, percentage based though. So I mean, obviously, it's not like you don't want to make more profits because we don't want to have to pay more taxes, right? But yeah, fair enough. Like if you increase the cost of goods sold, you compress the margins, fine, right? So now everyone's margins are a tiny bit tighter now than they were before because they're paying additional tariffs on those goods. Fine, no problem. But let's stick to some facts, right? What happens if you implement a tariff and then you further cut the corporate tax rate? Do you think that there could be any level of offset to the increase in price because you're offsetting that tariff tax by reducing a tax on the profit?
I mean, possibly, right? But you're also talking about small and large businesses alike. So there's going to be a lot of large businesses who probably going to offset their profit margins by just eating costs and seeing how long it takes for their competition to go under and starting to increase prices, etc. So they're probably going to eat that for a while. The richer corporations will.
So okay, so you're saying they're going to eat the tariffs at least for the medium short term.
And the difference is when you increase things like corporate taxes. If you're a corporation A and you choose not to pass those taxes on to your consumer, you're probably going to outperform company B who does pass those on to your consumer.
That's correct. That is basic supply and demand. I agree.
I think there are ways around it. Somewhere in the supply chain, though, someone is eating those costs. Someone is losing money. Someone is losing revenue. Somebody's job. Someone's getting laid off.
Okay.
And I always say this, but we just can't compete with all of Chinese production. Like, we're going to have to pick and choose, be very careful about it, be very deliberate about it. But I don't think we're just going to be able to throw tariffs up and hopefully someone, kicking rocks around one day will be like, you know what, I'm going to build a plastic doodad factory. I'm going to build a fucking trinket factory. And, nobody's doing that.
Nobody's building plastic doodads and trinkets in the United States? I disagree.
If they are, they're being outperformed by China easily.
I disagree because the cost of labor would be the main thing there, and if you could automate, which a lot of manufacturing of plastic doodads is automated, I think that you could do it in the United States. Same with chip manufacturing.
But we're also talking about real estate, so cost of living versus and the U.S. dollar and the minimum wage all affect things and the cost of output for consumer goods here, and China has us beat in all of those aspects.
You're talking about in the cheaper labor cost and the lower cost of living is what you're saying?
Mm-hmm.
Well, they do also employ like 7 to 8% of their children between the age of 7 and 12, so that's not good, right?
I think the actual working age law is 16.
Do you think they follow that?
From what I know, I don't know.
Okay, so I think it's pretty well known that China just has pretty weak labor laws, at least labor law enforcement, right?
Okay.
We can agree. We don't have to be,
Yeah,
you know,
we have pretty bad. We have pretty
fans
bad
of
ones
Chinese child labor. Well, sure, yeah. I mean, that's a but at the end of the day, if China is employing children and they have cheaper labor because of that, that doesn't mean that we should, just as a hypothetical, that doesn't mean we should be like, oh, well, let's just buy everything from China since it's cheaper, right? Is
Well,
there any
that's what the
level
rest of the world's going to do. That's what the market is
Think
going
so?
to do, man. Yeah.
Okay. Well, that is possible, but I'm not really concerned as much about where other countries and corporations within those other countries are sourcing their goods. Would I prefer that they buy them from the United States? Sure. But what I think is that there are specific key strategic things that we should be building and manufacturing here in the United
Yeah, you
States in
said
order
it.
to ensure
Key
we have a robust
strategic
supply
things.
chain.
Things
Yes.
like the Chips and Science Act, things that invested in, EV, super like
Yeah.
bioconductors, semiconductors, all those things.
Yes.
That's great, but I don't think
No, it's not
we
great.
need somebody venturing into making stupid plastic bullshit and polluting our air and trying something that will fall like a house of cards the second Trump's tariffs come off.
Well, just to be clear, though, the largest carbon footprint anywhere in the world by far comes from China. So if we want something, just to be clear, if you have a globalist agenda and you say we should still be moving our manufacturing overseas, at the end of the day,
They're also
China is going to do it. Hang on, China's going to do it less clean than we would here in the United States, right? And that also contributes to the reason why they're cheaper, right?
they're also
Are you
making
willing to trade?
record-breaking investments in solar and wind.
That's true.
So, like, for you to be like, oh well, we're just suckers. We're falling for this climate change thing. They're
No, I didn't say that.
absolutely industrializing towards that.
Okay, but what I said was true. So don't put words in my mouth, right? What I said was true. China does have the largest carbon footprint of any country in the world, right?
Okay, so for you to
Correct.
start virtue
Yes.
signaling towards this, maybe
How do you know I
makes
do or don't care
me
about
think-
climate?
If you are a Republican, you obviously don't care about the climate.
Okay, that's a blanket statement.
Okay, does Trump believe in climate change?
Do I think he actually does believe in climate change?
Yep.
I think to some degree he does, yeah.
He says he doesn't.
But yeah, I mean, obviously that's his political posturing. Why would he? He's certainly pro oil and gas, right?
Yeah, right. He
there's
thinks that
trade-offs
windmills
everywhere,
are
right?
killing whales, giving
That is
people
true.
cancer.
Windmills are killing whales.
Are they?
Yeah,
Where's that happening?
off the coast of South Carolina, I believe, where they build offshore wind turbines and then humpback whales start washing up on shore in record numbers. Do I particularly care? No, but it is kind of an interesting phenomena, don't you think? It might be off the
I
coast
don't
of
think it's killing
Virginia.
whales. I'm looking this up right now.
Okay.
Offshore wind killing whales. As of 2024, no U.S. whale death has been linked to offshore wind operations. That's not
Okay.
true.
Well, you've just done a very minor amount of research, but the reality is they started building offshore wind turbines off of the coast, and then during that same time period, record numbers of humpback whales were washing up on shore. Do I care? No. Did you bring it up? Yes. So now I'm telling you that there is at least an argument to be made that there is a correlation between offshore wind turbines being built in the middle of the ocean and whales dying.
Yeah,
Okay.
but not causation.
Sure, not causation, but there's
Yeah.
certainly an argument there. For you to just
Yeah.
dismiss it out of hand, I think is kind of absurd.
This is big oil talking points. This
Okay.
is-
Well, I mean, is it factual information that record numbers of humpback whales washed up on shore around the same areas that they were
it could be,
installing wind
but there's
turbines?
nothing that's connecting the two. As far as I
I
can tell.
guess so. You can't causally link them, but it's just an interesting phenomenon, you say?
Sure.
All right. Well, that's what I say as well. So back to the conversation around taxes, right? So if you introduce a tariff and then you also give corporations tax cuts, but not only just like broad tax cuts on their profits, but you also allow them specific deductions for domestic manufacturing and kind of incentivize them to move their manufacturing back to the United States. For example, like research and development, previously before this bill passed, you would have if you were expensing your research and development, you'd have to amortize it over 5 years. Now, if it's domestically sourced, so if you're doing your R&D here in the United States, you can write it off all in one single tax year. That's beneficial, right?
Yeah,
So
that
at the end
that
of the
all
day,
sounds
it's a
that
balance,
that
it's a
all
scale.
sounds it sounds nice,
It
but
is
we
good.
we are in huge debt, right? Huge
True.
debt,
Yeah.
and these tariffs are making $27 trillion a month or $billion a month. It's 27 billion.
27 billion was
billion
what they
a
brought in
month.
June. Sure.
Yeah, I think that and it also coincidentally is what they brought in.
Not all the
Yeah,
tariffs are in place yet.
yeah.
So we could significantly,
So
and also a lot of importing was front loaded prior to tariffs being put into place. So once we go back to business as usual, I presume, and by the way, that's 5% of total tax revenue. Previously, before Trump implemented his tariffs, we were talking about tariffs equated to maybe between 1-2 at the most as a percentage of total tax revenue. Now corporations are paying an additional 5% of total tax receipts. And if you consider the fact that corporations prior to that only really actually paid 9% of total tax revenue, the tax burden was really on the majority of U.S. just income earners. I think it's
yeah,
beneficial that we raise taxes on the corporations and then give them deductions to incentivize them to manufacture here locally. Whereas you agree with Biden's approach, which would
hmm
be just give them taxpayer dollars and tax
yeah,
cuts, by the way.
subsidize them. So like,
Subsidize them, yes.
yeah,
I disagree with that approach.
Again, like this is loose and sloppy. What Trump is doing is saying, here's huge tax breaks. You better promise you're going to do these things that are productive. It might allow you to, but if you don't, that's okay too. If you just do stock buybacks, if you just buy all the real estate up, that's cool
Yeah.
too. Go for it.
No, I mean, what you got to understand, I'm sure you do. So I think you understand that businesses are always going to operate in their best interest, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, right. I think that's a fact. It's a fact of life. So if a corporation's always going to act in its own best interest in order to maximize shareholder value, what you have to do is shape your policy around incentivizing them to do what you want them to do, because you're now making that in their best interest. So if you say, I'm going to allow you to write off this, or I'm going to allow you to take this deduction only if you do what I want you to do, which is manufacturing in the United States, then they're going to do that.
Yeah, I believe in
And so
that. I
that's
believe
good.
in more of that, and not
Yeah.
huge, sloppy, multi-trillion-dollar tax breaks.
I mean, first of all, we already covered there's a negative correlation with tax cuts and GDP growth, right? So if
It's not
you
as amazing as you think.
decrease
Well, there's so
taxes,
many
GDP goes up.
things. There are so many things that we can see. The immigrants, for instance, we're supposed to see. I think it's like $8.9 trillion over the course of 10 years from immigrants who you guys are spending hundreds of billions of dollars shipping off. We could just literally not do that and make more in GDP than this.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure. I don't necessarily. First of all, Trump is not even deporting as many people as Biden or Obama did. So,
Yeah, I
and by the
know
way,
he's doing it
and by
in
the
the most
way,
insane ways, though.
yeah. But, okay, so just to be clear, just to follow your logic here, right? It's too expensive to deport these people. Biden and Obama deported more of them. By the way, they spent way more. But
No, Trump is spending way
you're
more.
also arguing that
False.
they should all be given
What's the
a higher
budget for
degree of
ICE
due
now, bro?
process.
What's the budget for ICE now, bro?
I don't know the specific number. I know
It's
it's been
tens
increased
of
to
billions
probably
of
double.
dollars. I think it's like $40
Yeah.
billion. They're not.
Okay.
It's not even close. No.
I don't particularly agree with that increase in spending. So, I mean, obviously, if you've got a 900-page bill, if you agree with everything in it, then you're kind of a nut job. But if you disagree with everything in it, you're also a nut job. So you can
I
at
think
least
that was
agree
the
that the
purpose of the
tax
big
cuts.
bill. Yeah, it was a little Trojan horse for a lot of things. It gave Trump a little bit more executive
Sure.
authority. It cut a bunch of
Yeah.
taxes. It gave us a few things here and there that
Yes.
lasted like 3 years. That's nice.
Well,
But it was a huge spending bill.
the rate cuts for the individual income earners were made permanent, and then they added new deductions, which I 100% agree with. I 100% agree with. And by the way, those deductions, even though you guys try to make some claim as if like they're not good because they expire because of the bird rule. Regardless, doesn't matter. At the end of the day, those deductions are available to people who are making under like 500,000 AGI or 200,000 AGI, respective to which deduction it is. So that's not a tax cut for the rich. Those are deductions that are given to the working class, the middle class.
Yeah. We'll see how the tariffs pan out, bro. But again, Republicans are the biggest spenders in history, giving all these huge tax cuts because they have no idea what the fuck else to do. As if we haven't proven for decades that subsidiaries are far more productive, so much more productive. And again, they do all of this insane deficit spending without cutting anything. They cut like USAID. They cut a few 100,000 jobs.
That's good.
Oh my god.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing. First of all, Biden every single year of his presidency ran a higher deficit than Trump, except for the C-19. This last year, C-19 year.
Yeah, I know.
Right?
If you don't actually
not
look
only
at the
that,
details,
but Biden added. He spent more. Biden spent more than Trump did.
you
by
just
a
don't know
long
how to
shot.
read it.
What do you mean I don't know? No, listen. I'm going to tell you exactly what happened. You know, Steve Mnuchin, the Treasury Secretary for Trump.
Sure.
Okay, when C-19 happened, they went and they borrowed $1 trillion to keep in reserve because they weren't really aware of what was going to happen. Are we going to have, a significant reduction in tax revenue? We need $1 trillion just in case. Well, guess what? When the administration turned over to Biden, Biden had that $1 trillion still in the Treasury, and he burned through all of it. And then on top of that, he borrowed another $7 trillion.
Okay. So
Biden, if you account for the Treasury cash reserve, Biden spent way more than Trump.
The only way I think you possibly could think this is if you're just looking at the raw Fed data. Is that what you're doing?
I'm looking at the actual data. You have to take into account the Treasury balance at the time that Trump came in. How much did he spend? You have to look at the Treasury balance when
Bob,
Biden came in. How much did he spend?
When you pass a bill, does that come out of the budget that year?
I understand we're talking about 10-year deficits. I'm talking about actual what was borrowed and added to the balance sheet.
Yeah, I know. If you look at it and you don't look at how things do this, you can falsely claim that Biden spent more than Trump. If you have zero
it's factually
literacy.
No. Okay, okay. Just to be clear,
here's Trump.
Was tax receipts higher under Biden's administration than they were under Trump's?
Here's Biden. Here's Trump. Here's Biden. Trump writes a bill. It's 10 years long. It's paid for for 10 years. So during Biden's years, he's paying for that shit as well. And for you to just look at the raw numbers, be able to look how much Biden spent. No, this is money being spent on behalf of Trump as well.
Yes, but you have to understand that Biden passed trillions and trillions of dollars in spending that happened immediately. And what you're trying to account for, mostly C-19 spending, by the way, what you're not accounting for is also $2 trillion in spending that was blocked by Republicans that Biden was trying to pass through. We never talk about the money that Biden wasn't able to spend because Republicans stopped them. The reality is, dude, it's just insane for you to look, full stop. Trump spent too much money. He's not fiscally conservative. He's a Democrat. Regardless, you guys are not you're not budget hawks. You're not deficit hawks at all. Like, you literally add to the budget more, or add to the deficit and the budget more than anybody.
It's not true.
That, by the way, that number is incorrect. I can tell you directly that does not include the Treasury balance when each president came into the administration.
Yeah, because this just shows approved spending, approved debt.
That's net 10-year debt approved.
Yes. Yes, these are bills passed. These are things that they approved to spend.
Right. So just to be clear, I just said Mnuchin took out $1 trillion loan. That's debt.
Okay, add $1 trillion to it.
In the cash reserve, right?
Put $1 trillion in there.
You remove $1 trillion from Trump and you add $1 trillion to Biden, right?
Okay.
Because Biden spent it. He spent the debt.
This doesn't include the balance of the bank. This includes how much was actual liabilities that was used, okay? This doesn't take into account the balance at the time. This is what the liabilities were during the Biden administration.
Okay, so Biden saw a net increase of the debt of over $9 trillion. So that's
Yeah,
just factual
and a lot
information.
of that came from Trump's legislation.
That is not necessarily true. Some of it you can
It
subscribe to
absolutely
Trump's
is.
legislation, but a lot of that was C-19 spending, which, by the way, was 100% bipartisan.
Yeah, I
Okay,
know.
this is
And
not.
if you take away the COVID spending, the American Rescue Plan, Biden only spent 2.2 trillion. COVID, non-COVID for Trump, 4.8 trillion dollars. That's what it is.
That's your numbers are just not correct, dude. I'm just I have to tell you, your numbers are your number. I've
Okay.
seen this chart a million times, and it's been debunked a million times because the fact of the matter is, it doesn't account for the fact that the borrowing from Trump from Mnuchin was spent by Biden. If I borrow $1 trillion, but I still have $1
This is
trillion
not
in
how
the bank,
this is gathered. This is not how that's gathered. Look, see how it's itemized:
I
Tax
understand.
Cuts
That's
and
what I'm saying. It's
Jobs Act,
incomplete data.
1.9 trillion, Bipartisan Budgets Act, 2.1 trillion. That's how it's gathered. It's not gathered by the balance change in the balance sheet. That's why you
It's
have
debt.
absolutely no clue what you're looking at when you're just looking at balance. When you're looking at balances, raw balances from the Fed.
Well, first of all, you're bringing up a chart that's not even cogent to the argument. My argument is the Biden spent more, which you disagree with. And you're bringing this up, which is, by the way, not even proving your point. What I'm
It
telling you is
absolutely
that
is.
Biden spent more money than Trump did. And
There
that is
was
a
more
fact.
money being spent by
Reality.
the Fed, but it wasn't Biden.
I'm sorry?
There
The
was more money
Fed
being
spent
spent by the
money?
Fed. Yeah, but there was more money being spent by the government, but it wasn't Biden.
What do you talk? First of all, what's the Fed spending money on?
Whatever's approved, whatever's approved. So
That's not how that works.
if Congress passes a budget, that's not going to be
Yeah.
on here, right? The
If
Congress's
Congress
budget,
passes the
that's not on
budget,
here, right?
no, that is on there. Yes, that is on there.
I don't think
in
that's on
fact, you
here.
just showed it. What are you talking about? Did they pass the Tax Cuts and Jobs Act? Did they pass the
No, no,
Budget
no.
Act?
I'm talking about the budget. I'm just talking about like the military budget, the yearly budget.
I mean, is it in there? It's like it's baked in. Yes, it's baked in for sure.
No, it's
yes.
not. No, it's
What
not.
are you talking about? It's not. It's baked in. That number is included in what is the 10-year deficit going to increase the debt. So
No.
you're telling me that any government spending is not baked in?
No, it's not. It's not baked into this number. No, it's not.
Okay, you're not right. You are incorrect, sir. If you're
Can
if
you
you're
tell me
telling me
where
that,
the line item is for that?
oh, I knew it. I was about to say the same thing. The line item is baked in to the larger budget. So you agree on how much funding is going to be allocated to each department, and then their budgets within those departments are baked in already, right? We don't
All right,
care.
dude.
I
No,
don't care if
you're
they have a
talking
budget
about.
for.
No, those items are not baked into this.
Oh
No,
my
they're
God.
not.
So
No,
who's
they're not.
spending the money? Who's spending the money?
Congress.
Okay, Congress spending the money, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and that is part of this chart. This
When
is
Congress
including
passes a bill,
legislation
when Congress
approved.
passes a bill, a spending bill, that's what goes on this chart. That's what adds to the tally.
Yes. What do you? Do you not understand how this works? The spending
Do you
bill.
think it includes resolutions?
No, of course not. Why would it include resolutions? Resolution is not even law, really.
This does not include the yearly budget. If it included the yearly budget, you would see You would see what, $5 trillion a year, $7 trillion a year. It does not include that, dude.
Obviously, it doesn't. Why would you talk about the gross? We're talking about the net. We're talking about debt added. I'm talking about Hey, can I ask you a question? How do you calculate a deficit?
A deficit is how much negative your recurring revenue is against your liabilities.
No, not really. I mean, liabilities can be liabilities still. Doesn't matter. We still have tons and tons of long-term liabilities. It's how much you brought in tax revenue minus how much you spent, right?
Yeah, I'm just
That's
using
your
different terms.
I guess
Yes.
just incorrect from an accounting perspective, but that's okay. So yeah,
I'm
realistically,
a bookkeeper of fucking like 8 years, dude.
okay. Well, then you probably should have known that.
Okay.
All right. So regardless, no. If you want to use different terms, that's fine. We can come together on this. So realistically, right, the deficit is how much you spent over how much you brought in, right? Okay, cool.
Of
No problem.
course, yes.
Now,
And what
the
you're doing is
deficit,
you're conflating
hold on.
all of Trump's spending and all of Biden's spending, putting it all together, and you're reading the bottom line. You're going, look at all this money Biden spent.
So
Do they separate out the Trump spending? Do they separate it out somewhere? Is it somewhere I'm not finding?
no, well, you can look at it here and you can see which ones are partisan and bipartisan, right?
Yes.
Just to be clear, though, is there any culpability in the spending if it's considered bipartisan on the Democrat side as well, or is it just Trump's fault?
They both had around a 60% bipartisan passing of legislation. 60%. I think 57 versus 61.
Is it true or false that Kamala broke the tie on more legislation than any vice president before her?
Yeah, in 200 years, yeah.
Does that also include things like the American Rescue Plan, which is $1.9 trillion?
Yes.
Okay, so would you say that was bipartisan? Would you say that if the vice president has to
No.
break a tie?
No, it
Okay,
says
it's not-
partisan.
Okay, so if we really look at it and you actually examine the spending, you would find that a lot of the Democrats' spending after C-19 was partisan spending that Republicans tried
There's
to
a
stop.
report on this. You're not correct. There's a
Hey,
report
where's
on
your
this.
report? Where's your report?
Same place. CRFB partisan versus
There,
part-
while you're looking for it, I will tell you that I am disappointed in the Republican Party's not following through with their fiscal conservative values, at least some
No
part of
duh.
it.
They never
But
have.
Uh, yeah, probably true. Just like the Democrats have never codified Roe v. Wade. It's kind of just a thing that they say to get elected. But realistically, Democrats are just pretending as if they give a shit because they know that it inflames the base of the right because their politicians
Okay,
aren't following through.
61% by President Trump, 61% bipartisan, Biden 57, just like I said.
Okay, well, that doesn't break down the nominal value, does it? Because I want to know about because if I pass it, just to be clear, if I pass a bill that spends $1 billion and it's bipartisan, and then I pass another bill that spends $1.9 trillion and it's partisan, you could still say, well, that's 50-50.
Yeah.
When it comes to the actual spending, it's not.
Yeah,
So,
it's around the same, and Trump still being in the 57 to 61 range, still spent 8.4 trillion, while Biden spent 4.3.
that's first of all, that's not true. You're talking about 10-year impact of deficit numbers, which by the way, just to be clear, and you can look this up because I know that graph is very old. Those numbers have completely gone off the rails. They're not correct. The Tax Cuts and Jobs Act cuts have actually come very close to paying for themselves because of the increase in GDP. So when you increase GDP, you actually increase tax receipts, right?
Yeah, but we also had an insane amount of inflation, so that has a lot to do with why we had an increase in GDP in 2022.
That's a very, very solid point you have. So you're correct in your take that higher inflation does actually prop up GDP. So this whole accounting of Biden having a great GDP growth over time is actually just a facade because what was actually happening is hyperinflation.
During the 2022 and 2023, but during 2024, the second, third, and fourth quarters were amazing.
Amazing from what perspective?
GDP growth.
Okay,
and
but we'd already
inflation.
But just to be clear, we had already experienced a huge amount of aggregate hyperinflation over that time period, and so we still are stuck with those higher prices today, right?
Yeah, of course. But when you're looking at GDP growth, Biden had GDP growth towards the end of his administration that represented a healthy economy.
They represented getting back on track, right? After they experienced all that hyperinflation during the previous time period. Okay, I mean, sure, that's fair enough. But I mean, I would also argue that most of the results of the any benefit of GDP growth probably came from a lag effect from cutting corporate taxes and incentivizing domestic manufacturing. Now, would I also agree that Biden, I don't like his approach, but there's two different approaches. There's the carrot and the stick. Biden uses the carrot to try to incentivize these multinational corporations to manufacture domestically when Trump uses the stick. I prefer the stick approach because I don't like my tax dollars being given to giant multinational corporations. Like NVIDIA, or actually NVIDIA didn't even get money from the Chips and Science Act, but Intel or Taiwan Semiconductor, none of these I think should be getting our tax dollars. Instead, they should be where they should be incentivized to move their manufacturing to the United States with tariffs and with deductions for doing the domestic manufacturing. And I think that has proven results, because we already have promises from these companies to start investing hundreds of billions of dollars, trillions in aggregate, in domestic manufacturing.
Yeah, a lot of this isn't on paper. A lot of this Apple started promising years and years ago. A lot of this is wishy-washy, and a lot of this is also a product of the Chips and Science Act. They're coming in and they're taking advantage of the Chips and Science Act. For Trump to come in and take like full credit for all this is insane. Not to mention, we have countries pulling together and trying to figure out ways how to fuck us in trading. That's what Trump has done.
No, they've always done that.
They're doing it even more so now.
Well, now we've got somebody who actually will negotiate with a stick instead of going to the World Trade Organization doing absolutely nothing, like Obama did before, right? He went like a dozen times to make complaints about unfair trade practices with China, and guess what? Nothing ever happened. They still steal our IP. They still flood the market with cheap steel. They still do whatever the hell they want to, because the World Trade Organization is a big, giant joke, and Trump is actually coming in and saying, no, you know what? From this point forward, I am not going to play the same game. I'm going to shake things up. Now, arguably, you're right. We have to see how it pans out. But so far, what everyone was crying and complaining about was huge increases in prices. Well, we've had some tariffs in effect for a while now, and we really haven't experienced the inflation that people were saying that we were going to experience. Now,
yeah,
in 6 months we'll check back. But
yeah, I feel like people are getting a little cocky with saying, look around, nothing happened yet. We're still seeing the effects. We have low imports coming in to the ports in California. We're going to see what happens soon, but someone's going to hurt. It's going to be the middleman. It's going to be us. The big man's going to be able to take it on the chin. But there definitely is going to be some sort of fallout over these tariffs. You can't just do this and nothing happened. Everyone win, especially if you're going to say there are going to be no price increases. That means that on their face, tariffs don't even work. No one's going to change their purchasing habits. It's not going to change the manufacturer market here at home.
Well, it all depends. It all depends on the elasticity of the demand of the product, right? So, for example, right, a artificial increase in price caused by tariffs, right, changes the price equilibrium that we're currently at and increases it. And that reduces demand, right? So essentially what you'll see is that corporations will look and they will do the math and they'll say, okay, does it make sense for us to rather compress margins in order to not have falling demand? Or does it make sense for us to do this price increase and decrease the demand? We'll see. We'll see what happens. Now, I can tell you this for sure. Corporations typically don't like to see falling demand. They would rather reduce margins and then try to weather the storm, which is like what you have said they're doing currently. So I would say if in 1 year we get to a point where it's like, okay, we've collected $400-500 billion in tariff revenue and they just decide to shut them off, I would say more power to them. They just got $400-500 billion from corporations, by the way. So I don't have a problem with it.
I mean, at the same time, giving it away, it's like all of a sudden it's great whenever we capture it, but Trump is permanently giving these things away. And our deficit is never been in a worse place. We had the options when we saw Kamala's plan versus Trump's plan, reducing the deficit versus Trump exploiting the deficit, and his sorry excuse for his Doge thing came out and did absolutely nothing. It was a total of $16 billion of savings. While cutting necessary aid for people who are going to die. 3 million people reportedly will die.
All right. Yeah, so we can argue about the Medicaid stuff in a bit, but let me tell you, this is cherry picking data. It is cherry picking data to say, oh, he's going to increase the deficit. What's your number? Do you think it's 3.4 trillion? What's the deficit?
It's somewhere between 2.3 and 5, maybe 6.
Okay, somewhere in that ballpark. Okay, that's cherry picking data from the CBO. When the CBO put out data that also showed in multiple different simulations, when you don't just have static scoring for GDP growth, if you have moderate GDP growth, then it could be deficit reducing compared to the baseline, which would be, by the way, a tax increase, just to be clear, right? Like you're arguing against the fact that it's deficit increasing compared to everyone getting a tax increase at the end of this year. Just want to make sure that you understand your argument. But there are multiple different numbers and simulations that have been run that show that it's actually deficit reducing over 10 years. And that doesn't even include other considerations like other discretionary spending cuts or the tariff revenue at all. So realistically, and by the way, the CBO put out all these reports. You guys only like to talk about the data points that really kind of work in your favor, where it's like, oh, well, in this scenario, if GDP doesn't grow at all over the next 10 years, then the deficit's gone up. But you also don't account for the fact that says that everyone gets a tax hike at the end of the year, and also that we have no GDP growth. So I don't know, man. I just don't know why you guys like to cherry pick data like this. It's kind of absurd. I mean, we do the same thing, fair enough, but you got to be a little bit more nuanced in the argument, right?
Yeah, I don't know. I'm looking for a model that proves that this is going to be
Yeah,
be
I'll tell you what.
helpful for our
I'll tell
deficit.
you a good place to start, and you're not going to like it, but I'll tell you a good place to start. So whitehouse.gov, June 30th, the one big beautiful bill slashes deficit national debt while unleashing economic growth. If you scroll down, there's a lot of sourced CBO data that shows the different simulations that were run. You can kind of explore from there. But that's fine. Look, I mean, I'm actually more fiscally conservative than Trump. Like I said, he's much more of a Democrat than someone like me.
What are his democratic views?
Well, first of all, he's not fiscally conservative, right? You would agree with that.
Democrats are always more fiscally conservative than Republicans.
I got to tell you, that's just 100% not the case, and that's fine. The Democrats generally, from my experience, have always been okay with more government spending for the sake of GDP growth, while Republicans are more of a, cut the taxes, reduce the size of government, and let the market, let consumption and exports.
We have Bush coming in, raising the deficit. Clinton coming in, balancing it. Bush coming in, crazing it. We have a crash right here. We have Obama still coming in, reducing the deficit from all of that spending, and Trump coming in and running it all the way up. There's a pattern here, right? It's always the Republicans.
Your scale, no, it's not always Republicans. Your scale is first of all missing Reagan, just to be clear, and also missing Biden. So I feel like
Biden reduced it immediately.
Yeah, but was it higher than what Trump's initial years were? By the way, let's not try to pretend that the C-19 spending, which was bipartisan spending, is Trump's fault. So let's remove that giant bar up, and let's say how many years of certainly Trump was increasing the deficit, but when you look at after those 2 years of extreme C-19 spending, the deficit was still higher the next 3 years.
It would have probably stopped like right here. It was
single
still higher
year.
than anybody.
Still higher than Trump by a long shot. So, and by the way, that was spurred on by.
You think Biden? Wait, this is Biden coming in and reducing the deficit. The deficit.
Correct. Yes, but you realize that a lot of that deficit spending was spent in that year. For example, when you give people checks and say, "Here you go, here's stimulus," that adds to the deficit, right?
Yeah.
We're not talking about 10-year deficit. We're talking about annual deficit.
And when you do things like expand the IRS or you make a 15% minimum tax for people making 400K or more for corporations, you bring in tax revenue.
Yeah, that's great. Well, by the way, you realize that AMT tax, I mean, first of all, let's not go all the way back to 2017 again, but I think it's left out a lot. The fact that the profit shifting loophole was closed by the Tax Cuts and Jobs Act, and multinational corporations were forced to pay taxes on foreign profits, which increased corporate tax revenue significantly. It actually increased proportionally how much taxes they were paying. Also, just to be clear as well, the data clearly shows that the top 1% paid a higher proportion of taxes than before the Tax Cuts and Jobs Act. So they actually increased the tax burden of the top 1%. Just so I'm clear, and a lot of that has to do with like the SALT deduction being capped. There's a lot of reasons why.
Are you talking about individuals at the 1%?
I'm talking about individuals, but yeah. I also previously to that made the mention that they closed the profit.
No one cares to collect an individual salary when you're rich. That's very misleading, dude.
It's not misleading at all. It's just factual data, and most of it was led by capital gains tax.
Okay.
So
right.
Rich people pay more than just income tax. They pay a significant sum of capital gains tax. which, by the way, I'm pretty sure who cut the capital gains tax? I think that was Clinton. Clinton did cut the capital gains tax to 20%. Okay, regardless of it, all I'm trying to say is there's more nuance to this than the figures, the cherry picked data figures of like, oh, Biden, was better because of more GDP growth, or Trump spent more, which is not true. You want to talk about
absolutely even before COVID, he spent more.
no,
Absolutely,
he did
it's not
he did
even
not spend
arguable.
more. He did not spend more than Biden did.
He absolutely did. He spent 4.4 before COVID. 4.4. Biden 2.2.
He did not. He did not spend more than Biden. You're talking about what was added to the 10-year debt, which means you're saying he increased the 10-year deficit more, which I disagree
Correct.
with.
That's how we measure the spending. Yes.
No, it's not. No, we measure the spending by actual how much did you spend, not like, oh, well, what in 10 years do we think you'll spend based on the simulation of what these tax cuts will cost over 10 years. That's not true because those simulations were wrong. They were wrong, and it's been proven that they were wrong.
And what in Biden's spending is variable based on the economy.
I'm looking at the actual money that went out the door during the administrations.
You're still just talking about federal spending. You're just talking about how much taxes and money that we spent as a country, not what the actual president said. Hey, I think this spending bill is a good idea. We're going to approve this spending bill.
Well, first of all, Congress approves the spending bill, and sure, the president signs it. Sure,
yes,
but
I know.
Let's agree to this. Every single year after the C-19 years, Biden ran a higher deficit than Trump did. Also, every single year after the C-19 years, we had higher tax receipts than ever before.
It's all misleading. It's all misleading. You're talking about things in conjunction with Trump. His 10-year liabilities led into Biden's administration. Biden's spending, if you're just looking at the bottom numbers, it includes Trump's. How do I can't believe I'm explaining this to you.
You're not explaining it to me because you're not even making sense. What you're talking about in this 10-year deficit or 10-year adding to the debt is the aggregate of the deficits over 10 years, which were proven to not be correct because they did not account for the correct amount of GDP growth and tax receipts that would come in. So the expectations was that the Tax Cuts and Jobs Act was going to increase the deficit by reducing tax revenue. But what actually happened was we set records in tax revenue. So you are incorrect. You are using bad data in order to try to prove a bad point. I'm sorry.
You're just cherry picking. Of course, we have record-breaking tax revenue because our GDP, of course, always grows, and because we had inflation, which caused a huge increase in GDP.
Yeah. Okay. We already covered this. We're tread ground. The reality is, Trump spent about, I want to say, the debt that rose under Trump is about $6.5 trillion.
I know. Okay. Right.
Yep.
And you're not going to count any of the years after that where the
spent $9 trillion.
Okay. All right. All right. And what about every year of Biden's presidency where $180 billion went towards Trump's giant bill, his TCJA? What about that?
First of all, that's a rounding error when we're talking about trillions of dollars. But what exactly was it going to?
TCJA. It's deficit spending. It was telling people, hey, don't give me your tax money.
Well, that doesn't make any sense. If we were setting record tax revenue during those time periods, how is it costing us $180 billion?
Oh my God, dude. Because we have models for this, bro.
That's not an argument. How is it costing us $180 billion?
Because the year before they would have paid X, and the year after they pay X less. If you consider the same exact money coming in.
Okay, so what you're doing is pretending that in a vacuum at a higher tax rate that GDP would have been the same and we would have collected more. But we've already established that like 23 out of 26 economists have already in consensus said there is a negative correlation between tax rates and GDP.
But how negative? Like you can't just say that and be like, okay, well, we should cut all the taxes. Should we cut all taxes?
Well, first of all, how negative it is depends on, it's a macro problem.
Exactly.
Like, it's a multivariate issue that you have here. But there's still a negative correlation, and it's proven in the data. So you're trying to take a data point in a vacuum and saying, well, if the tax rates were higher, then we actually would have made another $180 billion in tax revenue, when that's just a bad argument.
And you're stating that somehow lowering taxes by 15% somehow freed up money for people to have more investments in different businesses or whatever that are somehow not already tax deductible, tax reducible, you're gonna somehow have to explain to me how a business with a tax break goes and
Yeah.
does all this extra stuff that it ordinarily wouldn't be able to do, because it's usually always tax reducible.
Well, no, that's not true. There's the tax law is pretty complex. We could agree on that, right?
Yep.
There's a 20% increase in domestic manufacturing spend after the Tax Cuts and Jobs Act. And one of the main reasons for that is because in the Tax Cuts and Jobs Act, they enforced a tax on multinationals that were making profit overseas. So prior to the Tax Cuts and Jobs Act, if
I get
Apple
that
was
part.
making
I
money
get
in
that
India,
part. Sure.
they never paid taxes
I get
on
that
it
part. Sure.
unless they repatriated the capital, right?
Sure, I get that
So
part.
they paid no
So,
tax.
so, so,
After
so
that,
you're going to
Trump
also
said
have
you
to
have to pay
substantiate
taxes on
how lowering taxes increased tax revenue, putting that aside in the tax revenue that gained aside.
Yeah. Well, first of all, it's factual data that corporate tax receipts went up and set records, partially because of a vast increase in repatriation of capital to the United States, over $1 trillion the first year. After that, what you saw was a huge amount of investments in domestic manufacturing, because why would you, and you're no longer profit shifting to other
So
countries.
you're also talking about a mechanism that increases revenue that does not involve directly lowering corporate tax liability.
A mechanism that increases revenue that does not directly involve
Yes.
increasing
You're
corporate tax
trying
liability?
to you're trying
No.
to you're trying
No.
to say that this negative correlation is paying for itself.
No, here's the reality. What you do when you make the US corporate tax rate more competitive on the global scale, on the global stage, you no longer have as much profit shifting. Where if the US corporate tax rate is 35%, but the tax rate in, let's just say South Africa, I'm going to make up a number because I don't have this data prepared. Let's say it's 25%, right? Okay. In the scenario, it's 35% in the United States and 25% in South Africa. And you're a multinational corporation that's based everywhere in the world, right? 100 countries. Okay. Well, what you're going to do, because you're a business that always does what's best for yourself, is strategically shift your profits to the place where you pay less taxes, right?
Yeah, I know.
Okay. Now the United States has become much more competitive on the global scale for corporate tax rates. So now you're going to start shifting your profits to the United States. Also, previously, you could tax haven your money overseas by not paying any taxes at all if you didn't repatriate it back to the United States. By Trump saying, no, you have to pay taxes on that profit no matter what. And as a matter of fact, I'm going to incentivize you to bring that money back into the United States. They start to do that. And that boosts the economy, and that makes everything better for everybody in the United States.
Yeah. And on the other hand, tariffs slow down the economy and do the exact opposite. So we're going to have to see which one wins, right?
Well, yeah, it's a scale, right? So you balance one with the other, and both of them at the end goal, the resulting purpose of them is to spur on domestic manufacturing, which, by the way, is what Biden wanted to do too. He just took a different approach.
He just did way better.
He did not do way better. He just gave a bunch of multinational corporations our tax dollars. He gave Intel $20 billion.
And Trump gave even more people who want nothing to do with manufacturing our tax dollars.
Okay. Just to be clear, I just want to be clear on this timeline. So Biden gave Intel $20 billion US taxpayer dollars. And then within 2 months, they laid off 20% of their people. And not only that, they were sued by their shareholders for lying about domestic manufacturing capabilities. So just to be clear, Biden was bamboozled by the tech bros. Okay, I just got to be honest with you.
Okay, and Trump is literally giving everyone huge tax cuts that they have no plans at all, and even bamboozling people. They're just going to sit on it, right?
I disagree. The tax cuts the tax cuts that they're getting are literally deductions for doing what they want you to do. So it's like, hey man, you only get this tax cut if you spend your dollars on research.
I know.
And
There's a
development
domestic incentive. There's a 5% domestic incentive. I get that.
I agree.
But I'm talking about the enormous other tax breaks. The tax breaks at the very top. The tax breaks for the billionaires and the multimillionaires, the tanning beds, the jet planes. I think those are insane. I think that you guys are still looking at this with rose-colored sunglasses. Like, look how much money I get to save It's going to be a few $1,000s. Watch our national debt explode like a motherfucker against, like, you have some of these fringe economists saying that it's somehow going to inverse our deficit. And I don't see it. It's not going to happen.
You're telling
It's
me
not
French
going to happen.
economists are saying that? That's wild, dude.
Yeah.
Because French economists are usually certainly not like that. I don't know if you're familiar with Thomas Piketty, but he's certainly more of a raise the taxes kind of guy. So here's the thing. Look, like, I appreciate talking to you. You know what I like about you? You actually have discourse. You don't just mute people. So I'm going to try my best to yield the floor with you on a couple of topics, because really there's a lot of nuance here where you can say, we don't know. We have to wait and see the results of the policies. You say they're bad because of this. I say they're good because of this. Realistically, though, I just think there's a lot of empirical data and evidence that shows that the 2017 Tax Cuts and Jobs Act was actually very beneficial in spurring economic activity. And I think that it reversed course from the washout of our domestic manufacturing base. And I'm glad to see that they're doing that again. Do I disagree in the fact that Donald Trump is not as fiscally conservative as I would have preferred? 100%. And if you're true and earnest in your desire to be more fiscally conservative, then we can agree on that. We can come together on that single point. But I just don't think that the Democrats have been doing it. So there's no way you're going to win me over without significantly more evidence.
Without a chart, I don't know what to say. I don't know what to say.
I don't know what to say too. We clearly looked at what was partisan, what was bipartisan. I can very easily show you times during C-19 that Republicans were standing trying to pass a bill and Democrats were trying to filibuster them in order to try to increase the spending in the bill. I can show you there's many, many bills that never did pass because Republicans blocked them because of excess spending. So it is, in my opinion, a bit hypocritical to now come after Trump for kind of pulling the wool over the MAGA base by pretending to be more fiscally conservative than he is, by saying, oh, look, we were fiscally conservative the entire time. It's just kind of, that's why I'm saying Trump's more of a Democrat than any MAGA person would.
That's
like
all
to
you have
believe.
to say is his spending habits are Democratic, and that's it. That's it.
But no, that's not it. No, he's also very clearly from when it comes to social issues, other than like the kind of going off the rails with the, I don't know if I can use the term, the T stuff, like
the trans people. Yeah, punching down on trans. He spent $217 million doing that.
Other than that, I mean, he's been pretty, as far as like the LGB part, I think he's been pretty open to. And as far as the AB part too, I think he's.
All right. Caroline, thank you for the pay to kick. Lotus, you're welcome to come back tomorrow or something. Erica also with the pay to kick. She says, this guy sucks donkey balls. Thank y'all so much. I was dying to. Chat, tap the screen. Let's get to 100K. Guys, I keep losing my my drink. Hello.
Did you get any money off the last one?
What are you doing, David? Why are you obsessed with my money?
I'm trying to make you money. Don't you? Isn't that what you do? Is you get people up here so you can kick them to make money?
Yeah, I don't know if this is a
What's the model?
This is a good look for me.
What's the business model?
I'm just gonna kick you for free. This isn't my favorite type of discourse. Watch, somebody's still gonna pay to kick him. Chat, if you're a Trump supporter and you want to debate, hop in the box. Come tell me why you like Trump.
What happened to Lotus?
He got paid to kick.
That's unfair. He was actually giving you a pretty good argument.
Okay, I'm sorry.
I thought it was really entertaining. Like, I don't have as much knowledge as Lotus does, but I've been on here before. I mean, man, Lotus was making a whole lot of sense. And if I had to regurgitate from what I was listening to, when it comes to, stimulating the economy, with tariffs, and then, also, all that, I don't know. He was making a whole lot of sense. He was kind of very hard to debate on
Yeah,
that.
so he believes the opposite of what we believe. He believes what is an insane cope, right? He believes that cutting the corporate tax rate increases the GDP so much so that we earn even more than what we cut, which is insane. It's not true.
I don't know, man. But if you want some more money, get somebody to pay to kick me. Because I think Lotus took a W on that one, dude. That's just my opinion. He knows a lot more than I do, but
It was a good delivery,
that was
but
pretty good.
bad argument.
I don't know, man. I mean, he gave you that was the best one I had seen. Somebody actually gave you a run for your money right there. It made a whole lot of sense. You can't deny he wasn't smart. He knows a lot of stuff.
Yeah, he was smart.
He was smart. He knew his facts, and he totally reminded me about Biden's spending, and then also the filibuster rejections and all that stuff that they were trying to get passed to spend. I mean, he reminded me of that stuff. Like, I don't have the best memory, but that guy had his facts in line. And
even if we did a few more bills, we would have spent far less than Trump, right?
Shoot, at the rate Biden was going, if Biden would have gotten reelected, or really Kamala, because somehow Biden had stage 9 cancer or whatever, his doctor lied about it, but or pled the fifth. My bad. Let me be correct. He pled the fifth, which to me is a lie. Who knows what he would have done, dude? The guy pretty much almost had dementia. Like, whoever was controlling the strings on Biden's puppet, I don't know, man. They had something going on that I didn't agree with.
They were awesome, apparently. They were fiscally conservative, awesome, productive, monumental legislation passing, sons of guns.
I don't know, man. I don't know. But anyway, I just want to say that Lotus took a W.
All right, bro.
Anyway, all right, man.
Hello.
Hello, are you a Trump supporter?
No, but can I say something?
Sure.
He got on TV today and said he'd never been to Epstein's Island. Can anybody believe that? Trump said, I've never been to Epstein's Island. He said that about 2 hours ago.
Yeah. Oh, we love you. My mods will kick you. Yellow.
Hey, how's it going?
Going good. Are you a Trump supporter?
Yes, in the fact that I voted for him, but not so much outside of that.
Okay, what do you like about Trump?
Well, for me personally, I really like that he expanded healthcare coverage for IVF treatment.
Okay.
So, yeah, I mean, that would be one of the main points I probably voted for him for. But I also agree with kind of dismantling the whole DEI situation. I like people getting their jobs based on their merit and their success rather than their race or ethnicity.
Okay. My argument would be Trump's whole administration's DEI, right? Like, there's not a single person in his administration that has any business doing anything. Like, the Brendan Carr, the guy who wrote the FCC part of Project 2025, he is the FCC guy. Let's see, we've got a drunk Fox anchor who's cheated on all of his wives and has a grape allegation is over the DOD. We have what's her name? Linda McMahon over the Department of Education. She did a whole speech the other day where she said A1 instead of AI. She said it multiple times. Like literally there's no one in his administration is hired based on merit. Kash Patel, public defender?
I mean, all of these people have proven success. If you don't agree with it, like in what they do, that's fine. But those people are quote unquote successful, are they not?
Yeah, that doesn't like I've been successful before. I should doesn't mean I should go do surgery on someone.
Yeah, not necessarily. And I'm not really disagreeing with you on those points that, yeah, Trump has got quote unquote his buddies involved in government. But at the same time, Trump touted these people during his campaign. So everyone that voted for Trump knew that these people were going to be in these positions, right?
That doesn't matter. They're not based on merit. They're not based on merit. Not even close.
Well, the merit is that they were voted in because Trump made it pretty clear
That's
who
not
was
merit.
him. I mean, that's why we have an election, right? Because you have two people that might have merit and you elect which one you want.
No, you're correct that they were. I mean, indirectly elected, but they were more so appointed. These people are appointed by
Right.
Trump.
Which is just a consequence of voting for Trump,
Yeah,
right?
that's.
Because
I mean,
Trump,
that's quite the cope. It's quite the cope for you to be like, well, it's okay. It doesn't matter. Their merit doesn't matter when they're appointed.
yeah, I mean, I don't know. I guess we just have two different logic trains on this because like let's just try to say,
Bro,
okay, the country.
Trump hired his own children into the White House last time.
Yeah, totally. But like, okay, for instance, say I ran a business, right? And I know a business and a country are not the same thing. But if I run a business, I have the right to hire whoever I want,
Oh my
right?
God. Yeah,
But
Trump doesn't
however,
believe in that. Trump doesn't believe in that.
okay, but what I'm getting at is, and I'm just using the business thing to try to explain this, is no one is forcing Trump to put anyone in his cabinet because of race or ethnicity, right? Is anyone forcing him to do that?
No, and it turns out they're all white.
That fact doesn't matter. I'm just saying, like, no one is forcing.
Okay, I
Like,
think it perfectly proves my point. I feel like if we were to go for the people with the most merit, it would look a little more representative of America. There would be like one BIPOC person, maybe just one.
well, I agree with you there. Like, if the best person, like, to be president would never be president, you have to be like a sociopath to want to be president. Like, that goes for Biden, Kamala, any big major politician. They're all crazy.
Okay.
I mean, really, think about it. Who would want to be president? What sane person would want to be president?
I don't know. Somebody who cares about the public, somebody who's served the public their entire lives, like Kamala.
Right. And I think you can care about those things, but you're definitely not sane if you want to take that job on.
I don't know. I don't know what you're saying. I think we've had plenty of sane presidents.
Right. Okay. Well, anyway, I don't have much else to talk about. My food just got here, so
All right, bro. Have a good one.
yeah, you too. Thanks.
Does anybody feel like there's like just an itch I can't scratch today? I just feel like a little more docile than normal. Definitely need to roast them. It's showing that MAGA, yeah. Oh. Hello.
What's up, Pickles? What's up, Pickles?
What's up, bro?
What's up? Got one issue with you today.
Uh-huh.
Do you believe in the First Amendment?
Yep.
So then, other than monetary benefit for yourself, why do you allow people to get kicked?
I think it incentivizes people to stay honest, to not be unbearable. And I honestly, I have people
No, I
for
mean,
an hour.
I understand. I understand kicking trolls. That's completely fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean that's fine. But I agree with everybody that said that was a great debate. Your entire chat thinks it's boring because it's probably over their head. But then they get kicked, and it's one of the best debates you've had in probably a week, if not longer.
Yeah, I'll be honest. It helps me pay my bills. So, I
at
also
least you're
don't
honest.
like people having more than an hour on my platform.
Okay. Okay. That guy was long-winded. I will give you that. And then, okay, last week, you destroyed a guy for saying on the big bill. I'm not a fan of it, but I think there are parts of it. He was saying, I can't remember. I think you said it before. You're an economics major, right? Or
No.
accounting? Oh.
Yeah,
Um,
I used to do bookkeeping.
Okay. Trickle down economics. If I agree that in the short term, it will hurt the middle class. But in the long term, if you're looking at the growth of the country, if you give the largest corporations tax cuts, who then employ hundreds of thousands of people, my current employer employs about 400,000 nationwide. How does that not stimulate the income of the country? If yes, you give a guy who's self-employed a tax break and employs himself, which one is going to have a larger impact on employment and GDP, which you always love to bring up?
Debatably, the bottom part of the economy, entrepreneurs, small businesses, are a very important part of our tax revenue.
Yes, and they will still be there because they've always been there.
Yeah.
The people who have the determination to be entrepreneurs and succeed are not going to go away.
Yeah, I also don't think that it's true that people, when they say they need tax savings, they need that money to hire people. There's no conceivable way to make an investment and hire somebody without automatically having that itself be tax reducible. So, if you want to go open a new brick and mortar, that's a liability you can use as a tax write-off.
Okay, I guess I'm using expansion or growth from the people on the S&P 500. If they have the ability to grow, that's going to help the GDP. And
so you're just saying it has to be so big and abstract, something that I can't think of right now is going to happen and create a job. That's what I'm saying. I don't believe that this is a huge avenue of creating jobs.
No, you and I disagree there, which is fine. And then, I just lost my last thought. Okay, it's not kicking. Why can your moderators mute people? Because that doesn't benefit you financially.
Yeah, I know. I don't know. Sometimes they don't do it so much so that I need to. I've felt a need to talk to them about it. I think it's been fine.
Okay. All right, keep it up. I just had some. I was really wondering about the freedom of speech thing, which I thought you were a huge proponent of.
Yeah.
But, and then last thing, proportionalism. You'll say like Doge. You'll be like, well, they only saved what is it, 16 billion, or whatever it was. But then you'll say that Trump wasted 400 million, and then that's huge. But you'll talk about 16 billion, and you're like, oh, that doesn't even matter because that's so small compared to anything else.
Well, like,
you'll sit there and hang on
the
400 million, which,
the
like you said, is a rounding error.
The utility of USAID and the fact that it was like $9 billion a year is insane to me. It's insane. Like, I can't think of anything else that's $9 billion that has that much use. But yeah, when Trump goes to a football game or a soccer game and it costs us millions, or when he does a parade and it costs us millions. And it's like, okay, well, that's a portion of what we could have used to save the 3 million people who are going to die from USAID not being in place.
Do you believe that, or is that fear mongering?
Do I believe that 3 million people will die?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the number.
Directly related to
Yes.
Yes,
a lot of it has to do with contraception and ongoing, like studies
How is
and giving
contraception gonna kill people?
pharmaceuticals. I'm sorry.
How is contraception going to kill people?
The lack of contraception.
Oh, lack of contraception. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Well, then why not go to the moral high ground and say, if you're an at-risk person having sex, don't have sex?
That doesn't work. That obviously doesn't work, right? The Bible Belt is a study on its own about that.
So you're mad at the solution that was provided, but don't want to address the issue.
No, I feel like addressing the issue by handing out contraception is a no-brainer.
Daddy.
Okay. Yes, sir. Last point, and then I'll get out of your hair. GDP. You love to talk about GDP.
Uh-huh.
I'm older than you. We've talked about this. Never in my life have I been affected if GDP goes up or down. So why is that always a point of contention with you? It's going to affect the GDP. And there, you're not even talking hundreds of millions. You're talking trillions, which is so far from any one of us on this podcast, whatever you call it, on TikTok right now.
I think it's
no
an
one
indicator.
here is working in numbers in trillions.
I think it's just an indicator. Like I from my basement can't tell what's happening in the economy, but when GDP doesn't raise as much as it's supposed to, that tells a story, right? Like I don't have this magic digital coin that grows in value with GDP, but
Right.
I'm just saying that's how we measure growth in the economy. Indicating people struggling or people thriving.
Do you think, okay, well then, in your opinion, do you think it's accurate? Have you in your life, I think you're a decade younger than I am, have you ever been like, oh, GDP's down, I'm struggling?
No, but I bet every time I've been struggling, I can go look at GDP and be like, oh, well, that was the 08 market crash.
Doesn't that kind of replace personal accountability?
No, I mean, I'm just saying cause and effect.
That's placing blame.
Well, I mean, obviously, if
That's victim mentality.
The 08 housing market crash is definitely something you could forgive yourself for if you weren't doing too well.
Yeah. There were people who did just fine. It was I mean, I completely agree. I worked for one of those big banks who fucked a lot of people. And
my stepdad had a adjustable rate mortgage. He just bought, it was like a $250,000 house. Right now, that same house today is probably $750,000.
Yeah. So you should have held on to it. I don't understand your point.
I mean, the adjustable mortgage rate ballooned, and he couldn't keep it. And the way housing mortgage.
Did he read his loan docs? I mean, I think there are two guilty parties in that. Yes, the banks did shitty things because they allowed to give those loans. But are you responsible for every document you sign?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm not saying he was tricked.
Because if you're saying they were tricked, you're saying every single person who took an adjustable rate mortgage is an idiot and not at fault.
No, I honestly, I think it is kind of dumb to take an ARM. But
it looked good when it happened, didn't it, though?
Sure.
You know, I mean, I think The Big Short is one of the best and most accurate movies ever made. It's so incredibly accurate about how people saw that happen before it was happening. And then you have people on the back end who made millions of dollars betting against it.
Okay.
But, all right, that's all I got. Thanks, brother. Keep it
All
up.
right. Man, it's been a long hour and a half. It's been a long hour and a half. Chat, if you haven't done so already, give me a follow. I do these debates all the time. And I also have a Cash App and Venmo. If you guys are trying to support the stream, that's the best way to do it. Let's go to the next guest. Hello.
Hello.
What's up? Are you a Trump supporter?
Yes, thank you for having me. I'm a Trump supporter. My name is Peter.
What's up,
How are
Peter?
you?
What do you like about Trump?
I think his bravado and character make our nation look great and impressive. I'm extremely impressed by the strike on Iran. I
So when
thought
I
that
think of
was
Trump's character, I think of like him posting a meme and celebrating bombing Iran and a parody song singing "Bomb Bomb Iran" on it. Or I think of him like tweeting 40 times in one night, or up at 2 a.m. tweeting about how he doesn't like a portrait of himself in the Colorado State Capitol, or just bullshit like that. I think
rats.
I think I think that the whole world, we have a Pew Research. I just brought this up earlier today. There's a Pew Research study that shows that all of our allies have less confidence in us with Trump in office than Joe Biden.
I don't know. Joe seemed pretty dead at the wheel to me.
Yeah, I know Trump ran a big, long, multi-year campaign convincing people that Joe Biden is Sleepy Joe and he's just not there. But I feel like Joe was one of the best presidents we've ever had.
Is that right? Why do you feel that Joe is one of the best presidents we ever had?
I think that he passed tons of monumental legislation, like world record breaking investments in climate change. He invested in uh, uh, like the biggest veteran healthcare bill in decades. He did an infrastructure bill that Trump's promised his first term, never fucking did it.
Hmm.
He did a bunch of stuff. Chips and Science Act.
Yeah, I heard about the Chips and Science Act. That was a big one. Yeah, I guess you're right. Pretty good president. I think the guy we have now is bigger and better.
I don't know, man. I think Trump's got a really bad spending problem. I think he's got a lot of drama going on with all of our allies, even our adversaries.
Yep, there's certainly a lot going on there.
I think we got him taking $400 million jets from Qatar. We've got him bombing nations and us not even being sure that they struck the right spots. I don't know. We have Signalgate. We have the
Signal
biggest
gate.
spending bill
Oh,
ever in ever in existence.
okay.
We've got
I don't
insane
know.
tariffs.
Those tariffs are great.
Oof.
Oof. Thank you. Thank you. Pickles.
Are you trying to bounce out?
I'm going to go.
All right,
Thank you for
man.
the debate. That was lively.
No problem. Yellow. Hello. Greg, are you there? Greg, it's me, Pickles. Are you there? Greg, it's me. It's me, Pickles. He's not there. Yellow.
Hello?
What's up? Are you a Trump supporter?
Yes.
Okay, what do you like about Trump?
Specifically his great tax policy. That's the main reason I voted for him.
Yucky.
Yucky.
Yeah, he's putting us into an insane amount of debt.
Well, that can be argued, but I mean, it's not like anyone's going to ring in the debt, so at this point, it's not that big of a deal, at least now.
I think it's a huge deal when we look at our GDP versus our debt.
Yeah, but we need debt. It's impossible to run this country without debt. It's like literally impossible.
Yeah, I know, but Trump is like insane with it, right? He's the biggest spender ever.
Good spender, my opinion. That can be debated, but
Yeah. I don't know. Are you another one of those who thinks that tax cuts are going to increase our tax revenue?
not necessarily. I don't really know about that. I just know that tax cuts help, especially these help just ordinary people just a lot.
I don't know. I think that for the first time, actually, we lost our perfect credit score as a nation, and
How?
Trump's. I'm sorry,
How?
because of our spending habits.
Well, that would increase our credit score if there ever was one. We've never defaulted.
No.
I
It
don't.
lost its AAA credit rating for the first time in history after Moody's rating downgraded U.S. from AAA to AA1. This means that all major credit rating agencies have now downgraded U.S. from its previous AAA rating. Reason.
So I get. So your idea.
The debt burden.
So your idea is to pull money out of the economy to reduce the debt instead of boost it up with tax cuts to boost the economy more.
I think that we need to be very like Democrats have created 50 to 1 jobs when it comes to the job market under Republican and Democrat rule. Democrats, we always take money, we subsidize, and we watch those companies explode from the bottom up, and it creates tons of economic movement. And what Republicans have always done, and we have 50 years of data showing this does not happen, is they think that giving tax breaks to the richest of the rich will create some sort of magic economic movement that wasn't possible before, and somehow they're going to create magical jobs because of this. And I think all of that's fiction. I just explained to my last guest. If you are a business owner and you want to create a job that is already tax reducible, and it makes no sense for you to want a tax break to do that.
Yeah, well, it's a lot harder to hire people when you pay so much in taxes that, as a small business. That's why these bills were passed to help small business owners. That one of their biggest expenses is getting annihilated by taxes.
No, so taxes are only taxed on your profits, right? So if you hire
It's
somebody
not
or if you want to give
necessarily
somebody
true.
a raise, it reduces your tax liability.
No, well, yeah, you get the deduction for the pay, but that's not incentivizing the business to pay more.
Yeah, I know. And tax reductions don't do that either. We have not seen a raise in wages with productivity in the last 40 years. We've done this trickle down thing.
Yeah, that's why in my view, I know this isn't like traditional Republican view, but my view is have tax cuts that will help lower prices and boom the market and economy, while also supporting really strong union and labor protections.
Again, like these are just broad tax cuts. Like we have a finite amount of money that we take in from the government every month, every year. And we can say you could either I'll have some of it back, you can take it, and you can do things that create economic movement. And that's what I'm saying Democrats do all the time. We say, hey, if you want to build an EV factory, come do it. There's huge tax breaks for it. Come do that. And then people magically go do it. Instead, what Republicans posit is that we just give everybody free money. And they just, hopefully they go out and they go do things.
Free money? When do we give free money?
We take it, we pretty much take the money we could have collected from them and we give it right back to them.
So you mean stealing money and then giving it back to them? That doesn't make any sense.
You can't, listen, if you think taxation is theft, I mean, you like good luck, good luck fending for yourselves. We have the largest military in the world. We have somewhat semi-good infrastructure. But yeah, you can't do any of this stuff as a business without the US market, and you need to pay for that.
Yeah, taxes should support law enforcement and like protective services in the military, of course, but I don't think they have a business in dealing with our economy, like quantitative easing or any of that crap. Using taxpayer money to influence the economy is stupid. The only
I
thing
think it's
they
very
need to
important.
do to
Like if we didn't,
no, it's not.
If we didn't subsidize like EVs, for instance, and we gave everyone a reason to jump in on the EV market, we would be so far behind in developing EVs. We'd be buying them from China right now. We'd be buying them from South Korea. Instead, we
Why do
make
we
them
need
here.
EVs?
I'm sorry?
Why do we need EVs? They're all useless.
Why would you say EVs are useless?
Because they're just not like financially smart.
Okay, so like a few years ago they were 60 grand, now they're 30, and that's another instance where when we subsidize EVs, they get cheaper, we industrialize. That's a perfect example of why we should do that.
Well, the better option is, instead of stealing from people and funneling it into the economy, is to tariff China. So it's
isn't that stealing money too?
No.
Why isn't that stealing money?
Because China pays the tariff.
What?
Majority of the tariff is paid by China.
How in the world would China pay the tariff?
Because when they have infinite amount of resources and labor, then and they're going to be punished for sending the products out, then they're going to not be able to push as much out. Yes.
No. So when China sends a ship over here and it hits a dock in California, someone is handed a piece of paper and it says tariffs and duties. And that person standing on US soil has to pay that, not China.
It's true. And what happens to China when they start losing business
revenue?
Revenue from domestic production.
I don't know. They might
lowering the prices.
They might lower their price, but the 100% of the tariff is still covered by someone in the U.S.
So they are paying it by losing that profit margin.
Okay, that's not, so 100% of what's collected.
That's how it's paid.
100% of the money collected comes from the importer. None of it comes from China. 100%.
I mean, yes, like on a cash to cash basis, but at the end of the day,
dude, now you're coping by saying there's like abstract losses.
How does that not make sense? How does that
You're
not
just
make
saying
sense
the abstract losses. The abstract losses do not pay taxes. Sorry.
Yeah, but when you make things super competitive, they lower the cost, meaning that this is why we never saw a jump in prices when Trump did his first round of tariffs. There's always
That's
been
not even
tariffs on.
true.
It is true.
That's not even true. We had tons of industries go out of business because of this.
In the U.S.?
Yes, farms, record numbers of legacy farms went out of business.
Because they were buying products from where exactly?
China.
They
China
were
put up
buying
counter tariffs.
agricultural products from China.
They stopped buying so much products.
Agricultural products?
Mm-hmm.
Wait, we get our agriculture from China? Is that what you're saying?
They get some from us too.
Okay, but how would us tariffing imports affect our ability to export?
They did counter tariffs.
Oh, so you mean when they push back, we can't push back either?
No, we
Also,
started it.
Also, explain to me how if the tariff is paid by the importing business, why would China need to raise tariffs in response?
So what a tariff does is it slows down the trade. So if Trump puts a tariff between us and China, our revenue is going to decrease going to China, meaning their revenue is going to decrease.
Our revenue
See how
to
that
China's going to
hurts?
decrease, but then our revenue to domestic producers is going to increase.
Okay, yeah. In a magic world where all these domestic producers pop up and we all have these laborers that show up
That's
out
why
of
we saw
nowhere,
That's why we saw the Midwest completely boom during Trump's last presidency. The Midwest like completely boomed.
no, it did not.
Yes, it did.
What boomed?
Huge amounts of jobs came to the Midwest. Towns that were completely decimated by the last like 20 years of administrations giving jobs to China, because I guess
What?
that's somehow supposed to benefit America somehow.
I don't even know what you're talking about. Like Trump had a negative job loss when he left presidency, bro. Negative 3 million?
Yeah, it was COVID.
Yeah, so when was the job boom?
Before COVID.
Okay.
Okay, I know it's the tariff thing's a little confusing because yes, the business that's importing does pay like that the actual cash, but the reason why China gives counter tariffs is because the country actually has a negative effect on the country that they're imposing the tariffs on, because they're losing their profit because they're having to stay more competitive with the US. If the US isn't tariffing, what's their incentive to lower prices? They don't have one. They're just going to keep it really high and then pay their laborers nothing and make
Tariffs
these huge
are not
profits.
designed to do that. Tariffs are designed to protect industry. So like
yes, that's what I'm saying.
Yes. So if we have chicken farmers that sell X amount of chicken, and we don't want China competing with us, we can put tariffs on Chinese chicken, like and it protects our chicken farmers. That's it. It doesn't like sprout a bunch of chicken farmers, right? Like the industries still all have to ride the market.
Yeah, that's true. But China is like selling their products at like American costs, but they're not at Chinese costs.
Yeah, and we can't compete with that in a lot of different products.
We can with tariffs.
No, not even with blanket tariffs. We can't even compete with them with that. No, we can't.
How?
I don't know. Tell me how they sell things for 13 cents to us that we would never be able to make, even with the 55% tariff or a 55% tariff on something that small and minuscule. We can't do that. A lot of the stuff we can't do.
Yeah, because they have infinite labor.
Yeah, they exactly.
Infinite amount of resources and labor.
You're figuring it out.
We can't let them abuse the U.S. and take advantage of us just because they treat their people like garbage.
Tariffs aren't going to do anything. Okay, so now you're just fighting the Chinese government, and the tariffs are not going to make jobs here because still all of these. I always say this: if you take a production plant in China and you copy and paste it here in the United States, the United States manufacturing plant is still going to produce a good that's more expensive than the Chinese manufacturing plant because of the way the economy is. It makes no sense for us to do these tariffs for all things.
So why not have balanced trade?
What do you mean, why not? This just isn't the way to do it. This isn't the way to fix it. This is just a tax
Why not have
on
more
you.
balanced trade? Why are we the ones always at deficits?
Because we're rich.
We're the most powerful country in the world, yet we're letting other countries take over our jobs,
because we're
our
rich.
industry.
Why? In what world would some other country have a trade surplus with us?
So you think we should only be an intelligence and service-based country?
I think that's just fine. Yes.
No, that's terrible. Terrible for national security. Terrible for the Midwest. Like I said, everybody lives in these coastal cities like New York, Tampa, California. Go visit these small towns that have been absolutely decimated by jobs going to China. Their plants, their manufacturing facilities destroyed. Because there is no other jobs. A small town is just
we still have like 4% unemployment. I don't care about your sob stories. The market's going to do what it's going to do.
Yeah, where do you live?
Dallas.
Yeah, exactly. You have no idea about these small towns that have been absolutely look at Detroit. Look what Detroit used to be, an amazing city, and now it's a piece of garbage. And all these other small towns, because people were like,
manufacturing is not
China.
Dude, I'm sorry, but everybody wants to work in like a desk job. They want to work like smart, not hard.
Not true.
Okay,
Not
and there
true.
might be some people that prefer blue collar work, but
not everyone can do that.
It's still not enticing. Like kids are going to school to do engineering work. They're not hoping to go to some factory to be the middle manager one day.
All of them. Okay, so tell me, like 20, 30 years ago, when there was like 4 million plus, probably over that, like manufacturing jobs in the Midwest, and these people, for whatever reason, they didn't want to go to college, they didn't want to do schooling, they didn't feel like they were capable of doing that, or they didn't have the financial backing. And then when we started giving jobs off to China for a cheaper, service-based economy.
Yes, that's what the market did. Yes.
What happened? What happened to those people in those jobs? Where did they go? Do you think they went to college?
They all
and
got jobs. They all went and got jobs somewhere.
Yeah, in what?
I don't know. It
service
probably
based
mixed.
McDonald's freaking sweeping the floor, and you don't care about that. The only thing you care about is cheap products while you sit at your office job, and don't give a flying F about people in small cities that have been absolutely decimated.
You guys are decimating small businesses and medium-sized businesses with these tariffs, and you just have this weird pipe dream that these tariffs are a fix-all, and that all these businesses are just going to start thriving now that the demand is going to start being so incestuous and domestic. It's not going to happen.
Okay, well, go talk to like literally all the small towns with all these huge factories that they're literally, the whole population is the manufacturing plant.
And then they got beat by China.
Yeah, and you think that's okay?
I think that
you think that's okay for them to have to move and go work at freaking McDonald's?
I think that if we put a tariff up,
decided to have cheap products.
Yeah, if we put a tariff up, they're not going to be innovative at all. They're going to have no one to compete with. It's just going to be this free gimme, probably completely obsolete market by the time the tariffs come down. I think it's dumb. Yeah. I think hiding behind tariffs stops people from innovating and stops competition.
Do you know who the biggest stopper of innovation and that is? China.
What, just because they steal all of our ideas?
Yeah, they steal all our IP. Guess what? Okay,
but still, I mean, like that's a side note. Like that's not what we're discussing, right? Okay? Like that's not. I'm not saying that's okay, but you keep prescribing these really bad solutions.
China needs to be absolutely punished to hell for the amount of crap they've done to our U.S. innovators and small business. And you just sit there because you like to go to your local
Yes,
Dallas
there's a
Walmart and
lot
get
of
your
us.
pair of
There's a lot
shoes.
of us that do
Yeah, and there's
enjoy the
also a lot of
fruits of
people
free
in the
trade.
Midwest. There's
Yeah,
also a lot of people in the
well,
Midwest you don't think about. You
I don't
just don't
know.
care. Just be honest. You don't give a
I don't
shit.
know. I guess innovate, find a new job.
Really.
Yeah,
Wow. That's terrible. Go talk to the people that lost jobs over the past 30 years. Their whole pensions, their everything had to go work and sweep it like freaking McDonald's
yeah, you're
because
right. We
you
should
guys
get them to
decided
make shoes. Let's go make them make some shoes.
make shoes.
Yeah,
Well, yeah, no, I'm talking. Well, I do. I will say I don't necessarily agree with the blanket tariffs, but I do agree with like big like steel car, those type of things. How do you not agree with that?
I believe in targeted tariffs. Yes, my whole point is blanketed tariffs are fucking dumb. They're taxes on us.
And do you not think? Well, I'm not entirely sure what Trump plans to do yet, but China's tariff should be like 500% across the board. We
We
need to
would
like
suffocate,
absolutely
dude.
Yeah, well, you know who'd suffocate more? China.
No, we're only 13% of their market.
We're only 13% of their market.
Yeah.
And you don't think that would really hurt them or like devalue their currency even more
It would hurt them. They
than it
would love for
already
their
is?
currency to be devalued. They would love that, I'm sure.
No, they wouldn't.
They literally do it to themselves.
They do it to themselves. How?
Yeah, they invest in U.S. stock bonds to keep their currency lower than ours. They do a bunch of communist tricks to lower the value of their currency so that they maintain their exporter status.
Okay. Okay. So let's say, are you okay with um like letting, like you were just saying, letting, complete towns that rely on these huge manufacturing plants to be absolutely decimated? I do agree with you, like there shouldn't be like shoemaking plants,
Yeah, I don't think we
but
should. I
like,
think we should target very important specific industries,
okay, which
name
ones?
them.
Which ones?
I mean, we already did this already, but semiconductors, EVs, biomanufacturing, all of these things, we can double down on it if you want to. Solar panels, windmills, all of these things. Like
Cars?
we have to focus. Yeah, we have to focus if we're gonna beat China on something. We can't just like kind of throw shit at the wall and see what sticks.
Yeah, no, I agree. And Trump's last administration was more targeted um than blanket, but but I kind of, I sorry if I get upset, but it's kind of just, it's ridiculous when people sit in cities and just say I don't care because I get cheap products and I love my cheap cars and my cheap steel or whatever, and then these people that live in these small cities in the Midwest, they just get absolutely screwed over
Dude, I don't know. I
because
don't
you
feel
want like a,
bad for people who live in small towns. Like
why, bro?
I feel like we shouldn't keep an obsolete industry alive just for them to have jobs, right? Like that's just socialism. If the market's doing what it's supposed to, like they can come to a city, come work in the city. Like that, I don't know. I don't know what to say. Fucking industry.
So let's get rid of, so we can,
No.
why cost, and we
Laws
build a,
are important. Consumer and worker protection.
restricting the free market.
It definitely is, but
I
they
guess.
separate us from.
Yeah.
I think these things. Uh,
which which raises costs. Labor laws are a tax on consumers. That's your logic.
You guys are wild. Dude, everything, like, if you want to work 60-hour weeks without, like, overtime pay, if you want with, like, no breaks, if you want all that stuff, go for it. I don't think it's worth it.
No, but do
It's
you
not
want to
worth
get
it.
rid of the regulations? Do you want to
No,
get
you're
rid of the
conflating all
regulations?
regulations now, and it's just fucking stupid.
Yeah, those regulations restrict a free market. Okay, when I pay an employee, it costs like depending on the state, like near double the actual wage you pay them to actually employ them. It's true. Workers' compensation,
Dog, I've done payroll
unemployment
more times
insurance.
than I can think. It's not double, bro.
On
It's
what?
like 11%.
What's your business? What's your business?
I used to do payroll for construction business.
And they did workers. Wait, you're in Texas. They didn't even have to do workers' comp.
They don't have to do workers' comp now.
Yeah, so you're okay with that?
We didn't actually have laborers doing dangerous work.
So
They
you
were
think
all
it's
subbed.
okay to not have workers' comp?
They were all subbed out.
Probably illegally. You probably misclassified a lot of your workers.
No.
I actually a couple years ago just got done with a lawsuit for a construction company that misclassified me. I got my taxes paid because you guys just like to screw people. Like, you basically just don't care. You just like to screw people. That's what you basically have been telling me all day. Screw the small town people. Screw the guy that does the construction, because if he breaks his back, I don't give a shit. That's what you basically said. I'll just misclassify him and he can break his back, and that's on him.
Okay.
I'll misclassify him as a contractor instead of illegally.
Okay.
It's basically what you just
your party is the one who's constantly dismantling workers' rights and stuff like that. So for you to sit here and complain about it, it's kind of crazy.
Also,
isn't he gutting
party
OSHA?
did I say it was?
Isn't he gutting OSHA?
No, that was Biden.
No, it's Trump's gutting
OSHA
OSHA.
abuse.
Trump's gutting
Yeah,
OSHA.
probably of fraud and abuse. People that sit at desks all day.
Okay, now everything that he cuts is conveniently fraud and abuse. It also is conveniently just stuff you guys don't agree with.
Like what?
And, USAID, OSHA.
Did you say USDA?
USAID.
What's that?
Holy fuck. It's the program we had in place that did soft power around the world. We helped developing countries, starving nations. We gave in South Africa and Africa, we gave them a bunch of contraception and helped the fight against HIV and AIDS.
And that's our responsibility?
Yeah, it's called soft power, bro. So instead of bombing everyone all the time, we can groom them to be our friends.
You think just grooming the Middle East is going to make them our friends? Hey, we'll give you some contraceptives,
right?
After what we've done to them, are you kidding me? It's just a bunch of wasted money. We've completely destabilized the Middle East. There's no coming back from that.
I mean,
the thing we just need to do is not be involved.
Sure, I'm talking about other countries. Every other large country on Earth does this. Asia, they're out there in hand and knee building shit for Africa, building the largest dam I think on Earth in Africa.
So
like they're doing all sorts of things.
China just screws us, and we're supposed to give them free money. Is that what you're saying?
Give who free money? China?
You just said Asia.
Yeah, I'm saying Asia does the same thing, that they come out and they try to do the same thing to other countries. They spend billions doing the same thing. That's why we do it. We say, hey, when it comes time to look at your friends, look to the West, look at us, look at democratic nations.
And
if not, it's Russia or it's Asia.
Do you know it'd be even better to tariff China so they don't have as much revenue to give to freaking contraceptive in Somalia or whatever?
That doesn't do
Somalia or whatever.
Dude, you can't. We're only 13%. It's not going to cut their Somalian aid, dude.
I have a question. you did construction business, yeah?
Mm-hmm.
What type? General contractor? What?
Restoration, roofing, windows, fencing.
And you subbed it out?
Mm-hmm.
Did like to companies, or did you have a set of crew?
I had foremen that had crews, and
So you had
they each
foremans that
had like 4 or 5 crews apiece.
so you had foremans that you gave orders to.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, so you illegally misclassified your workers. Congratulations.
Giving orders to somebody makes them
Yeah,
not a
you
contractor.
could, yeah. Yes, you control your workers, meaning
No,
they don't have
here are
independent
some of the
autonomy.
guidelines. You have to have a uniform. You have to have a place and time to show up at work most days. You have to have a schedule. Didn't have any of that. I didn't have any sort of tardy or any sort of form to fill out to say, hey, you missed this amount of days. I absolutely did not. He did not have to
Did
show
you
up
give
at
them
the
a
office.
time frame? Did you
No,
tell
I
them
said,
when to show
hey,
up and when not to show up?
here's the date we're doing this construction. Does that work for you? Yes.
Who provided the tools?
They brought their own.
The foremans?
Mm-hmm.
How did they get the money for that?
I'm sure they're a business. They got money.
Okay. So maybe not. I don't know. But it happens a lot in the construction world. Which is why I had a company pay half of my payroll taxes, because people like to just take advantage of everything. Also, you're in Texas, so it's a lot easier. I'm in Colorado, where it's like basically presumed you're an employee, and you have to prove that they're not an employee.
Yeah. Well, Texas, Republican state, doesn't do that.
Yeah. So you're a liberal in a conservative state, benefiting from the conservative policies
You're
that you so
you're
hate, I
a
guess.
conservative in a liberal state benefiting from liberal policies that I don't have.
Yeah, but at least I don't hate on like workers' protections like you do.
Okay. All right.
Did you make sure? Hey, did you make sure that your foreman had workers' comp for all their employees, or did you just not care?
No, I
Just
didn't
handed
care.
them cash. Yeah, exactly. You were just a shady contractor.
They had to have insurance. That's it.
Yeah, property damage for you. You don't care about. You just be honest. You
It
don't
also
care if the
covered up
guy
to
fell off
50,000 in medical.
for their employees.
Mm-hmm.
That's nothing.
It's something.
That's nothing.
It's
Bro.
something.
You're effed up. That's messed up. I can't believe you. Okay, if a guy fell off and broke his back and can never provide for his family again, what would you do?
I don't know. I guess he would have to sue his employer.
Yeah. And then you're out of a project. Do you not care that the guy doesn't have guaranteed like money protection from that injury?
I don't know. They're also tearing down like
And also
$1,300 to $2,000 a
sue
day,
in
dude.
Texas. He can't sue
I
in
know,
Texas
and they're
'cause there's
also
no
pulling
law.
down a nice amount of money.
Who's pulling a lot of money?
The workers.
Like 19 an hour? How much do you pay them?
No, they were getting like 300, 400, 500 a day.
That's nothing. And how long were they working?
8 hours.
Yeah, it's still nothing. If you were to like break your back.
Dude, you're fucking joking.
No, okay. Do you know how much someone should get if they like break their back doing construction?
I don't know how much, millions.
Yeah, probably close to like, if they can never work again, probably close to like 500,000 to 800,000.
Okay, sick.
And would you give them that money?
No, I wouldn't have it.
Of course not. Of course not, because you don't care. Just be
I don't
honest. Just
care.
say you don't care. Really?
Dude.
Well, that shows who you are.
All right, I'm getting
It's okay.
bored here, dude. You're auditing my work ethic. We're here to talk politics.
Yeah, so don't act like you stand up here and get, oh, the middle class people don't afford stuff, and you're a shady contractors and give a shit about people.
Okay.
So don't stand up here and act like
All
you
right, dude.
care about the
Okay,
American
dude. You
class.
voted for a guy that famously ripped off the people who built Trump Tower. He literally didn't pay a bunch of Polish immigrants. If you feel so strongly about this, now you hate Trump, I guess, right?
Who
Or
did you
now you're
vote
just
for?
gonna be like me, Kamala.
Who? Yeah, the lady that jailed over 1,000 people for devil's lettuce violations.
That's not
and then
even
laughed
true.
when
That's a lie. The number's
It's not true.
45.
It is true.
The number's 45. Out of 1,400 people, is 45 people.
Oh, so you still think that's okay? Let's say it is true. I
Yes,
don't know
that's
if it
not a
is.
huge amount of people. And it
Do you
was
think it's
always
okay to
an
laugh about it, though?
enhanced conviction.
Do you think it's okay for her to commit a crime and then laugh about people committing
She
and then
can't
laugh about
she can't choose how to prosecute crimes. She literally only jailed
she was the
people.
DA.
She jailed people who had conviction for shrugs, who also had something like violence or something. Those were the people who were jailed. Anybody who had strictly the devil's lettuce was not jailed. You guys literally haven't even looked this up. If you
So
pretend
they
to
were
care, you haven't even looked this up, dude.
So then why was the charge on there? Because she wanted
She
to jail
also
people
did
for
you know that
devil's
she
lettuce and
also
then laughed when she laughed about it.
she also started a diversion program, and it also took kids who were first-time
Diversion
felons.
program.
Yes, it took kids who were first-time felons and got them back in the workplace and back into society, and it got their records expunged.
Yeah, after they stayed past their sentence for her to be for them to be cheap labor for
All
the state of
right.
California.
Okay.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Don't act
Yeah,
like
her
she's
office wrote that. I get it.
what?
I get it. I get it.
You get what? That's okay for
I
that
get
to do that.
I get that her office wrote that in a memo once.
Wrote it in a memo. It actually
Yeah.
happened.
Yeah, I know. She didn't write that. That was her office, though.
Oh, so she doesn't have control over her office, just like she wouldn't have control over the country. Yeah, because she doesn't care.
Okay.
She doesn't care if people stay past their sentence and work for free. Because she's DA. She don't
It's
care.
not staying past their sentence. It's
It
people
was.
that were up for parole.
Past their sentence. Past their
There's people who
parole.
are up for parole, and they
Yeah, you think that's
cited
okay?
how this is going to affect the firefighter program.
And you think it's okay to keep people past their eligibility for parole for cheap labor?
No, I don't, dude. Do you think that it's okay to grab women by the pussy? Do you think it's okay to lie about your
Did it actually happen?
finances? Do you think
Did
it's
it actually
okay
happen?
to try to send 7 slates of fake electors to 7 different swing states to
Did it actually
falsely?
happen?
Yes, the fake electors actually happened. Yeah.
Really, Trump was the president from the 2020 election, so it actually failed. But what
It did
Kamala
fail. Yes,
did
thanks to
actually,
Mike Pence.
yeah, but nothing prevented Kamala from doing her atrocities.
What atrocities?
Remember Kevin Cooper? I just mentioned them.
Oh my God.
Jailed people for devil's lettuce, then laughed about it. Used people for cheap labor for California. Got rid of cash bail system to hurt people.
Okay, none of this tops anything that Trump's done. None of this even comes close.
What has
Trying
he
to
done?
steal
He
the
said a bunch
election?
of random stupid stuff.
Trying to
He said a
steal the
bunch of
election?
stupid stuff. Did it happen?
Yeah, yes.
Did
Yes,
it happen?
he tried to.
Did Trump?
Yeah, okay, just because he
Did
didn't
it happen?
succeed doesn't mean it didn't happen.
Okay, so what's worse, the actual action happening or just saying crap?
Basically trying to
jailing people
to
for
reverse the
devil's
will of
lettuce
81
violation
million
and then
people.
laughing about it.
81 million people's
What?
votes.
Oh, you really think that happened?
Yes. Yes, until
Wow.
actual evidence comes out, just like we're discussing right now, until actual evidence comes out, I don't believe it was stolen because I'm not crazy.
Okay. Well, let's say for sake of argument, it wasn't stolen. What Trump said never came to fruition. What Kamala said did come to fruition because everything she said evil she was going to do, she actually did.
She's so evil. The lady who's worked for the people her whole life.
Yeah, what people? Herself?
For the people of California,
Yeah, by enslaving them,
by winning them
for
billions
jailing
of
them,
dollars. Lauren,
enslaving
thank you
them.
for the $20. Says kick this fucker. I don't like how he's treating you. Guys, it's $40 to kick. 20 more to kick. Dude, literally, it's a woman who enforced the law, and then a guy who literally breaks it all the time.
What law?
Sarah, thank you for the 40. DJ, goodbye. Obviously, he's got 34 felonies, bro. Midwesty here. No, I don't want to work in a foundry like GPA, like my grandpa did. Thank you. Hello, Renee. Hello.
Hello?
Hello, are you a Trump supporter?
Oh, fuck no.
Oh, okay, you're good.
I didn't mean to.
You're good. You're good. Thank you for tapping. Ugh. Chat, we're having a slow night. We're having one of them slow nights. Dude, if I made $300, $500 a day. Shoo. Hey, you were paid to kick, TJ. You gotta wait till tomorrow to come back. Everyone is working. Yeah. Or you can pay to rejoin. I don't know about all that. PSA, copy the link counts as a share, guys, for the algorithm. I'd come up, but I don't want you to cry. I appreciate that, dude. I don't want to cry either. $200 to rejoin. Whew. Must be a NASCAR race tonight. Oh my god. My stepdad is a huge NASCAR, huge MAGA. Tattoo reveal? I've done it a few times over. I've done it a few times over. Yeah, the island guy hoax, man. He was on Dean's live earlier. Woof. Are my tattoos trash polka? No, they're not. Although I don't mind that style. It's my favorite Beatle. I would not be able to name the Beatles on the lineup. That's how bad I am. What's up, Nikle? What movie tonight? That's a good question. Favorite tattoo? Does anyone got movie suggestions? My favorite tattoo is this arm. The mandala. Play mostly Mandala. Midsummer? I'm down. Racer Wife was up earlier. I don't know why they jumped out of the box. Dude, when are you gonna try the Tim Tams? Dude, you guys are nuts. Office Space is such a good movie. Just debate someone, bro. Chat. If you're a Trump supporter, you want to debate, hop in the box. I'm kind of down to watch Midsummer. That's the horror movie, right? Lauren, you sent me PayPal. You did what? Lauren, thank you so much. I think I said it as soon as you sent it. Thank you so much. Said kick this fucker. I don't like how he's treating you. Does it have to be a debate about Trump? Yeah. Which Star Wars is best? I wouldn't be a good debate for that. I wouldn't be the most educated. What's up, Oslo? Rogue One. Rogue One was good. ZR will debate them. Guys, I still need to walk to the store. Where's my girlfriend? I don't have a girlfriend anymore. Do you guys want to... Should I do a live walk into the store? Do you guys want to go on a little romantic walk with me? It'd be sweet. Can we hold hands? Should I do it on this account? I usually go live on my my alt account when I do this. Should I go live on my big account? Do I have a cleft lip? No, I don't. All right. Go on dark. My alt account's called dark underscore pickles. Why do I have to go to the store? I have to get smoky treats. Do this account? Let me do this account. Little Pickles is back. Pickles. Pickles. Hey. Pickles. Look at me. Hey. You're stupid. Don't forget. Got a reminder all the time. Did Grandma make her watch Fox all day? I was getting hints of little Republicanism. She smelled Republican when she came back. She almost asked for my manager. Yeah. Wait, the girlfriend was about? No, 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 no. She came back indoctrinated. I had to have a sit-down talk with her about climate change and how abstinence is not the answer. How the earth is round. All right. What's Dean like in person? He's chill. It's pretty much exactly the same. All right. I gotta wear real clothes for the first time in weeks. Gotta wear fucking pants. God damn it. One tap equals one prayer chat. I'll see you guys on the other side.